I'm trading my sorrows. I'm trading my shame.
Dan.
I'm laying them down.
Silencio.
And we say yes, Lord.
Dan, no.
What, Anthony?
People are going to hear this.
Not this part.
I'm hearing it right now, and that's enough. One person heard that. That was enough.
Oh, you're so mean. Hey, this is Little Dan, and I'm here with
Big Anthony.
And this is our kickoff of the Camp Attitude podcast. We are super excited because we have as our first guest Sammi Haney. Some of you may be familiar with who she is, but I'm going to let Anthony tell you a little bit about her.
Yeah, Sammi Haney plays Esperanza, which is Dion's best friend, a sassy wheelchair user on Netflix, Raising Dion. She started Disability Shirts, and you can go to disabilityshirts.com, an online t-shirt company that provides themed apparel and products for people with disabilities and their parents and supporters, in a mission to spread awareness, acceptance, and love for the special needs community. She also sells her own fan merchandise. All of the shirts were created by her father, Matt Haney, who also plays her father in Raising Dion for one very brief scene, and you'll hear a little bit about that later. Sammi Haney was born with OI, brittle bone disease. She is a very courageous young lady that is making a name for herself in the acting world. Sammy's joining us live today with her father, Matt, and mother, Priscilla. Thank you three for joining us. I know that Dan has a question that he's been waiting a long time to ask Matt.
So, Matt, I saw a little segment on it looked like a local TV station where they were doing a quick little summary on Sammi and her part in Raising Dion. And you had mentioned a couple things, and one of the things that really got me was when you said that people sometimes will ask you certain questions. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. You mean like whenever people approach us in public?
Yes.
Yes. When we've been out in public, sometimes, obviously, a lot of people are very kind and nice, but it's kind of like when you get negative comments on social media or something, you tend to remember the negative stuff. Yeah. So there's been a number of times where we've been kind of just polarized by people because they'll come up and say things like, "What did you do to make your daughter that way?" And when we try to explain, well, actually, it's a genetic condition. It's not, had nothing to do with anything we did. Then they just kind of walk away. They're not even really interested in hearing what the reasoning is. They just want to kind of condemn you and then move on. It just seems like they wanted to make a rude comment and in passing, they walk past and say that to you and just assume you're not even going to respond. And when you say, "Well, excuse me, sir, or ma'am, actually this is a genetic condition. It's nothing that we did," they just kind of just keep walking most of the time because they just wanted to make a comment and move on, or people have made comments to us if you had more faith in God, then your daughter wouldn't be this way. Oh. And things like that. Yeah. And that's not a good, we know that's not a good representation of the Christian faith because that's not what, a good Christian would actually say or believe. But you get things like that from people that it's just weird comments and stuff. And so, a lot of times people are really nice and sweet to us, but the other time you get stuff like that,
Sure. Now I've been paralyzed for the last 20 years. I had a mountain bike accident, and I ride around on a scooter a lot. And up here in Oregon, it's quite cold sometimes. It rains, but people can be absolutely brutal to me. They'll say things to me. How'd you get like that? I had one lady call me a baby killer. I had been or something. I'm like, are you kidding me? But I don't mind because I can take it, and I kind of laugh it off. But man, it just I think that's why we push so hard at Camp Attitude, just to raise some of the awareness and stuff. Because when you say what did you do wrong, you with Sammi, you got to know it's what did your parents do right. That's why you're here.
Yeah, definitely.
So let me ask you a question. So how long have you been married?
See, we just had our 18th anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
Wow, that's quite a while. And what about so you got Sammi? Where does she fall within the kids?
She's the youngest.
Okay, and then what about the other siblings?
Yeah, so we have Sarah, who is the oldest, and then we have John in the middle.
So 3 kids. And do they have any OI?
No, they don't. We didn't have any children after Sammy, but we were told there was I think it was like they told us that there'd be a 25% chance if we had more children. They used to say it was higher than that. I think they used to say it was like 50 or 75%, but I think the science on that has changed. But no, Sammy was the first one to have it, and it was just a genetic mutation. And so it was something that, can't be predicted.
Right. That's one thing that we see a lot, and that's the utopia that we have of the camp attitude. Just because everybody that has a special need is I consider to be the normal one, and anyone that doesn't, they're the ones that have the problems. And it seems like the further we get away from special needs, the more that people feel like the outsiders. And it's just like the world kind of turned inside out. So, did you experience that at camp?
Well, it was very encouraging to be around other parents of kids who have OI. Everybody during Sammy's week, all the children were affected by OI, osteogenesis imperfecta. A lot of the moms I had connected with for years on Facebook, and then some of the parents we met were new, and we had never talked on social media before, but we all had a big connection because we go through the same kind of things, because our children are so fragile. We just kind of bonded over that.
Well, that's something that originally we kind of just blended everybody in, and then along the lines, I don't know, I think it was probably 2017 when we first did it, but we said we want to do just specifically an OI camp, just because of the bone breaks. And when we've seen some of the kids, all of a sudden we see them in there's a board strapped to the leg and some tape. And, well, what happened? Oh, they broke their femur. And it's like, well, aren't you going to go to the hospital? Yeah, we will in a while. It's like, totally normal. But to me, it was like panic time. But we want to make sure that the kids aren't just bashing into each other. And obviously with OI, when you've got a whole community, it makes it a lot easier. So people are a lot more cognizant of it.
Yeah. For us, it's normal. And sadly, our normal is, dealing with a child who often does have a fracture. So yeah, we don't tend to freak out as much as other people if they're around.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So how are your other children with the OI? How are they? Do you feel like they're rambunctious? Do you feel like Sammy gets even shot in the house? I mean, just tell us a little bit about the family dynamic.
At first, when they were really young, it was obviously a concern because they had to learn, just how fragile she was. And
we had to install a lot of rules that we didn't have before, like no running in the house. You can't throw things. You can't grab anything from Sammy's hand. You just have to wait for her to give it to you or ask for it.
Yeah, you know how kids fight over toys and stuff.
Mm-hmm. They had to be cautious and aware of how they walked around her so they wouldn't accidentally step on her or fall on her or drop anything on top of her. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of learning with them because before they didn't have to do that. And now when Sammy was born, they had to be ultra careful in the house about how they treated her and how they behaved.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially like with our son, because when he would have a friend over, they like to, wrestle, and they get guns with stuff and shoot at each other, like lightsaber battles and stuff. And so they kept breaking out into the living room, like the battles would go all over the house. And we'd have to tell them, guys, restrict the fighting to that room because you keep fighting over here by Sammy, and we're afraid one of you is going to get knocked down on top of her or something. And so we had to just, stay on top of them when they were younger.
So let me just throw out a round, or you can throw out a round number. How many times to the ER?
How many fractures do we think? Over 200.
Wow.
We definitely stopped counting. Yeah.
In that segment, it said that she had like 16 fractures at birth.
We have it written down somewhere, but yeah, my memory's not exactly good on there. But yeah, there was a number of fractures that she had. A lot of them were at different stages of healing. So they weren't all like from one at one time. It was, but well, yeah. When she was born, she had 19 that were at various stages of healing.
Now, do you think Sammi was just doing that for attention?
No, but she definitely came out with a lot of attention. She's always been very loud and very vocal.
So, Sammi, I got to ask you something. Is it true that you are sassy?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I could never tell, but I just heard that. Let us ask you a couple questions, okay? Can we do that?
Uh-huh.
How did you get into acting? I mean, here you are rolling around in your chair, having a good time. All of a sudden, here comes acting. How'd that happen?
Well, my mom saw a casting call on her iPad. I watch a lot of Netflix and shows and stuff. Mom asked me if I wanted to be an actor, and I said, yeah, because it looked really fun when I watched TV shows. And actually, it turned out to be really fun.
Now, was it a lot harder than you thought it was being?
Actually, with my memory, it was kind of easy.
Well, goodness, you are sassy. I got the whole memory thing. You're like, you can't even remember what you did last night, Dan. So tell us about Raising Dion. I mean, I know it's about a kid that has some powers, but what did you think when you first got started in there?
It was fun. I met some new friends on the first day. I got to go behind the scenes and see what it was like. I got to use a green screen.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
So that brings up a question. We have a segment that we thought we might, with your permission, throw into our podcast, but it's the part where Dion raises you up out of your chair.
Yeah?
And that's green screen, probably a little bit of it?
No, it's not green screen. It was special effects, though.
Come with me. Forget about Jonathan. I want to show you something fun. Quick.
What are you doing? Shh. What are you doing?
Who needs skateboards when you can fly?
Dion, put me down.
I used to only be able to lift Fruit Loops.
Put me down.
Wait, here comes the best part. You're gonna miss it.
Wait, what are you doing with my legs? Put me down. Dion. Why did you do that?
Why are you mad?
You took me out of my chair. You lifted me out of my chair. Why would you do that?
I wanted you to
Walk?
Yes.
Open the door. Thank you.
That particular segment really got me because number one is I know when he was saying he's trying to get expectations of you that he would consider that you would really like, and then you're not able to.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking about something that my cat did. Okay, what?
I'd like to hear your point of view of how that segment came about, and then the end of it. How did that? Did you help with that? Did they have that written in? How'd it work?
Carol Barbie wrote that section, and the character of Esperanza was a creation from her. Of her son had two friends, two sisters. One of them was extremely sassy, and one of them was in a wheelchair with a disability. And she mixed the two sisters into one person. And so she grew up, and her son being very aware of how people with disabilities are treated and seen and everything. And so she actually just from her own personal experience with that, wrote that scene. And we loved it. As soon as we read it in the script, we were, super excited. That was like the one scene we were most excited about because of just how much of an impact we think it was going to have.
Well, it definitely did. I mean, and the part where, can you open the door for me? And then the part that I think gets me the most is when you say, Sammy, when you say thank you. It just shows that how big of a person, to me, how it came across as, hey, you know what, I've got special needs, but that doesn't change who I am as a person intrinsically. At least that's what came across to me from that scene.
Yeah, I really love the way that she wrote that even though she was greatly offended at him, she still had to reach out for his help with the door, and then she was still polite in being thankful that he had done that. Yeah, I really like the way they portrayed her character there.
So, Sammy, quick question for you. How much does, like, when you're doing Raising Dion, you're in the classes, how much does that parallel, like, your schooling, your regular schooling?
Oh, yeah, I'm homeschooled.
Oh.
I forgot to tell you that.
So, who does the teaching in your homeschool? Your mom?
Yeah.
Is she
Sometimes
really
my grandma, though.
But is your mom really mean?
No. I mean, yeah, she's good. What did you say? I don't know what you asked.
Does she put you on timeout?
No.
Yeah, she's a teacher. I know.
Because I'm nice to her.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
You're better than me.
I didn't know what you said for a minute.
Oh, I thought you said yes. Then you just didn't want to get in trouble.
No, I said yes because I didn't know what you said for a minute.
All right. So let me ask you a question because we really are interested in this, and probably mom and dad can help out too. Tell us about disability shirts.
Oh, yeah. Well, we wanted to start, me and my wife had talked about when Sammy was even diagnosed, we had talked about, well, should we do, because I'm a graphic designer, should we do something, make a website or do something? And I hadn't actually been trained in web design or anything, more in print. And so we always wanted to do something, and it just seemed like it was going to be too hard and too much work. But then whenever Sammy just jumped out there and did that and wasn't afraid to do it, and, it worked out, it was a success. And so I thought, well, you know what, she's going to have a platform now as an actor, and we definitely want to be a good steward of that opportunity. So I thought this is the perfect time for me to figure out how to start, a t-shirt company that's going to help promote awareness, acceptance, and love for the special needs community. And so that's how it kind of got jump-started by Sammy being on the show. I just felt like, even if it's going to be really hard to do, we need to do it, because this is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have a platform where you can be have a greater voice, but be in a better position to use the voice she already has. So that's kind of what kind of kickstarted it, was knowing that she was going to have a platform to be a good advocate.
You have reached the end of part 1 of the Camp Attitude podcast and our interview with Sammi Haney, the star of Netflix's show Raising Dion. Please listen to part 2 to hear the rest of her interview.